Hello, dear students of Further Prep Science for second term, and today we have the first episode of Science, and we have to read some names of some students have full mark or nearly from full mark in these exams. نبتدي ببعض اسماء الطلبه اللي جابوا الدرجات نهائيه او شبه درجات نهائيه. طبعا عندنا الاء محمد جابت 20 over 20 فول مارك. ساره كانت برضو جايبه، ساره عماد احمد فول مارك. محمد طارق فهيم 19. هاجر محمود فول مارك. علا بركات فول مارك. ميار ياسر فول مارك. دنيا محمود المنزلاوي جابه 19.5. ندى ابراهيم المحلاوي 19. اسراء محمود محفوظ 19.5. هيثم محروس مختار 19. سارة سمير حسين فول مارك. عبير حمدي موسى فول مارك. آية عباس منصور فول مارك. محمد سعيد هلالي فول مارك. تسنيم عصام جمال فول مارك. رانيا جمال فول مارك. عبد الرحمن السيد سليمان 19.5. ياسمين عيسى حسين 19. هديل ايمن 19.5. وفي بعض طبعا other names برضو هنقولها. احمد محمود، احمد الشاذلي فول مارك. في طبعا اسماء تانية. الاء سعد طبعا فول 19.5. الاء هشام فول مارك. تمام. طبعا عندنا الزهراء طبعا من نورث سيناء او من شمال سيناء فول مارك. ندى ايمن محمد فول مارك. فرحه احمد فول مارك. وعلا طبعا جايبه برضو في الساينس فول مارك. وفي ساره عماد فروم كايرو 19.5. 19.5. منى محمد طبعا فول مارك. ندى علي طبعا فول مارك. ميار مدحت 19 over 20. جهاد شعبان from أسوان فول مارك. في أماني عبد الظاهر طبعا أو علي خالد فتحي سوري 19.75. وفي أدهم هاني فول مارك. وفي عزة 19.5. في عمرو محمد رزق فول مارك. آية محمد سعيد البرولوسي فول مارك. تمام. وفي عبد الرحمن السيد فول مارك فروم الشرقية. خلود خالد فول مارك. نورة علي حسن الإسماعيلية 19. في سارة محمد حلمي 19.75 فروم داميتا أو دمياط. طبعا في فول مارك برضو مؤمن عبد العزيز عبد المنعم فول مارك. آية صلاح منوفية طبعا فول مارك. نسمة ناصر 19.5 from كايرو. أحمد عماد فول مارك. وكريم محمد أحمد 19.5 from Alexandria in science. Okay, so dear students, as we have طبعا more than these names. عندنا اسماء اكتر من كده. طبعا next episode next week ان شاء الله we will read another names from other students. Maybe they have no news about their يعني marks. And today we will start with the first lesson in this term. So we have number one first unit as we talk about the chemical reactions. Unit 1 هنتكلم فيها على chemical reactions. As we have here, we have number 1 chemical reaction, number 2 speed of chemical reaction, and number 3 uses of the chemical reactions. We have unit 2 here talking about the physics as chemical, not chemical reaction, as we talk about the electric current and electromotive force, some properties of the electric current and the types of the electric current. Let's go to start with the first lesson in this term, and we will talk about the chemical reaction and kinds of the chemical reactions, أنواع التفاعل الكيميائي. let's go to start our lesson today with the first point as the chemical reactions. نشوف مع بعض. Chemical reactions as we have here, dear students, and what is meant by chemical reactions. نشوف مع بعض. What is meant by chemical reaction؟ يعني ايه تفاعل كيميائي؟ It is the breaking up of the reactants bonds. يبقى number one, we break up the reactants bonds. كسرت البونز, and we know what is meant by bonds, and we have covalent bond, ionic bond, as we studied before in first prep. Okay, then we have here, dear students, the next point in the definition here, and formation of new resultants bonds, and form new bonds between the results. يعني بعمل breaking down بكسر the bonds between the reactants and form new bonds between the products. We have any chemical reaction as we studied before in first prep, زي ما خدنا قبل كده في أولى إعدادي. We have two sides of any chemical reactions. We have here reactants and other side here we have products. So we have, dear students, number one, we have to break down the bonds between the reactants and form new bonds between the products. بكسر bonds between the reactants and form new bonds between the products, as you see, dear students. So now we know what is meant by chemical reactions. عرفنا يعني ايه chemical reactions. Okay. So here we have to know the types of chemical reactions. لازم نعرف types of chemical reactions. We have many types of chemical reactions, and we have to study today the first type of chemical reaction, as we have here thermal decomposition reactions. As we know here, we're talking about thermal decomposition reaction. So we should know thermal, which means heat. As you see here, we have heat. في حرارة في الموضوع. Okay? Thermal decomposition reaction. And at the same time, we have decomposition here. Decomposition, which means breaking down. يعني بكسر. Breaking down. يبقى thermal decomposition reactions, which means breaking down by what? Yes, by heating. By heating, because we're talking about thermal decomposition reaction. نقولها تاني. So we have first type of chemical reaction here is called what? Is called thermal decomposition reaction. And we should know thermal, which means heat. Decomposition, which means breaking down. As we see here, we're using heat as thermal decomposition reaction to break down the reactants. As we have here the first example. Before example, we have to define the chemical or thermal decomposition reaction. هنقول له يعني ايه بقى thermal decomposition reaction. Thermal decomposition reaction, the compound is broken up by what? By heating. By heating into simpler substances. يعني بكسره لحاجة أبسط منه. But we should know we break down by what? By heating. So here we have the first example of thermal decomposition reaction, as we see here, dear students. Number one, mercuric oxide. Mercuric oxide, 2HgO. Mercuric oxide, and its color is what? Its color is red. لونه أحمر. By heating, it will decompose into mercury, and we know the color of mercury is silver color, has a silver color, يعني لونه فضي. So here we have mercuric oxide will decompose into mercury 2Hg. And what here? And we have oxygen O2. Oxygen O2 will rising up or evolve. يعني يتصاعد الأكسجين gas. Some students may ask me, why? Why we have 2HgO will break down into 2Hg and O2. لازم نبقى عارفين we have from the conditions of any chemical reaction, the chemical reaction should be balanced. لازم يبقى موزون. The number of atoms in reactants should be equal the number of atoms in the products. صح؟ مش الكلام ده قلناه in first prep في أولى إعدادي؟ Yes. So here we have how many? We have two what? We have two mercury atoms and we have two oxygen atoms. So here we have two mercury atoms and here we have two oxygen atoms. Some students may ask me why we didn't write 2Hg like that, Hg2. Because we know it's wrong. Because we know mercury is from metals and the metals are monoatomic. We studied before in first prep. خدناها برضو في أولى إعدادي. So if we want to do or to write number beside the symbol of any metal, لو أنا عايز أكتب رقم جنب الميتال, we should put the number before the element or before the symbol, not after. يعني بكتب 2 كده. 2Hg, and we know oxygen is gas and we have active gas are diatomic, so we write O2 as we studied in 6th primary زي ما خدناها في 6 ابتدائي and first prep. Okay. Next equation here, dear students, we're talking about copper hydroxide. Copper hydroxide. Copper hydroxide by heating, and we know we write here this triangle which means heating or thermal, تسخين يعني. We write symbol of heating, we should write triangle above the arrow. بكتب اهو بشاور عليه اهو. يبقى هنا we have symbol and we know these symbols from first prep. خدناها قبل كده في أولى إعدادي. Here we have triangle which means heating, and here we have another triangle which means breaking down by heating. Okay, so how can we answer this question? Copper hydroxide, and copper hydroxide, its color is what? Is blue, as you see. Its color is what? Is blue. Okay, copper will take only one oxygen. هياخد oxygen واحدة and let or left the rest. هو هيسيب الباقي. left the rest يعني هيسيب الباقي. تعالوا نشوفها كده ازاي. يعني copper CuO. copper what? copper oxide. How many oxygen here? أقول له we have here, we have 2 oxygen and we have 2 hydrogen. But we take 1 oxygen from them. So the rest are H2O. Because we have 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, because the other oxygen is here. The other oxygen atom is here. And we have heating here, so we have H2O as water vapor, as in gaseous state. So as you see, dear students, here we have 2 oxygen and 2 hydrogen atoms in the what? In the reactant. As we have 2 اهو اتاني اهو 2 oxygen and 2 hydrogen atoms. But we take 1 oxygen atom combined with copper, forming copper oxide. And we know copper oxide, its color is black, لونه اسود. The rest will evolve as we have H2O, and H2O is in gaseous state as water vapor. So if we remember, dear students, these equations, like this equation, first equation, and the second equation here, we can answer any question. We can answer any question as give reason for, as what happens when, as complete, as choose, and so on. نقدر نجاوب أي سؤال. يعني for example here, dear students, for example, if we have give reason for the color of red mercuric oxide change into silver by heating. Change into silver by heating. Okay. ازاي اجاوب سؤال زي ده؟ And we have another question. Give reason for, or what happens when. Give reason for the color of blue copper hydroxide change into black by heating. How can we answer this question? We can answer by using the chemical equation. In give reason, yes, but not only chemical equations with symbols only, مش بالرموز بس. هكتب له symbols with names like that. هكتب له mercury 2HGO mercuric oxide واكتب تحتيها red mercuric oxide arrow triangle change into mercury 2Hg plus H2O plus O2 as oxygen gas evolve. يبقى we use equation as a chemical equation. We can use it to answer complete, to answer give reason, to answer what happens when. Okay. Here we have to complete our lesson today as the third equation. Here we have first equation and the second equation. تعال نشوف الثird equation. We have here copper sulfate CuSO4 and copper sulfate like خلي بالنا like مين؟ copper hydroxide. Both has blue color. الاتنين لونهم blue color. So copper sulfate has blue color as you see here. Copper sulfate. Copper, as we make in the previous slide زي ما عملنا في الصفحة اللي فاتت, we just combine with copper with oxygen atom. As we see here, we have CuO. أخذ oxygen only. And the rest evolve. The rest will evolve. هيتبقى مين؟ أقول له SO3 sulfur trioxide. sulfur trioxide. sulfur trioxide طبعا in gaseous state, as here we have SO3 sulfur tri. طبعا tri معناها 3 يبقى sulfur trioxide. طيب we have another equation. CO3 copper carbonate, and the copper carbonate, its color is what? Its color is green. Its color is what? Is green. لونه أخضر. copper carbonate. And we know نقدر أظن we can answer by, you can answer by yourself. نقدر تجاوب انتوا اللي تجاوبوها بقى مش أنا. Because we know copper only take one oxygen. Yes. And form what? Yes. Copper oxide. We have CO3. We take only one oxygen. We have CuO. The rest is what? Is CO2, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. So here we have, dear students, as we know, copper oxide, its color is what? Is black. We know the color of copper oxide as we studied before. Copper oxide, its color is black, as you see, and here we have black color like the previous equation, زي الايكويشن اللي قبليها, but we have here sulfur trioxide, and here we have carbon dioxide. Carbon what? Dioxide. طيب يبقى dear students, any equation contains copper sulfate, copper hydroxide, copper carbonate, we have in thermal decomposition by heating يعني. Copper take only one oxygen, combine with it forming copper oxide. هيعمل copper oxide, its color is what? Is black. كأن حاجة اتحرقت. And the rest will evolve. and the rest will evolve. الباقي هيطلع as a gas. Copper hydroxide will form copper oxide with water vapor, H2O, gas. Copper sulfate will form copper oxide plus SO3, sulfur trioxide, gas. And number 3, we have copper carbonate, CuCO3. Its color is green. واحنا هنشوفهم على فكرة طبعا بعد شوية as video to know the color and the change in the compounds from one compound to another type of compounds. And we have copper carbonate decomposed by heating into copper oxide, black color, and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide طبعا has no color, colorless. Water vapor has no color, colorless. We have carbon dioxide around us and we have water vapor around us, and we can't see them because we studied before in 6th primary زي ما خدنا قبل كده في 6th ابتدائي in these color أو these gases have no color or colorless. Okay. We know copper take only one oxygen. بياخد oxygen, only one oxygen atom, and let the rest. We have sodium. Sodium لا. Sodium طماع. Copper take only oxygen and let أو leave the rest. ويسيب الباقي. Sodium no. Sodium let or leave oxygen and take the rest. وياخد هو كل الباقي. We have sodium nitrate. And sodium nitrate here, its color is white. لونه أبيض. Sodium nitrate زي ما احنا شايفين 2NaNO3. الصوديوم بقى مش زي الكبر. Sodium will make what? Will make here will let oxygen atom, molecule O2 evolve and take the rest. So we have 2Na NO3. خلاص؟ طيب يبقى form oxygen gas 2Na NO2. Okay? And what? And 2Na NO2 has what? Its name or the name of this compound is sodium nitrite. Sodium nitrite. We should differentiate here between sodium nitrate, its color is white, and we have sodium nitrite yellowish white. ممكن ناخدها as a song او زي اغنيه sodium nitrite yellowish white عشان ما ننساهاش. and its color يعني لونه ابيض مصفر yellowish white. And we have sodium nitrate, its color is white. So we have 5 equations about thermal decomposition reaction, as we have here 2NaNO3 by heating. We have how many sodium? We have 2 sodium atoms. We have how many nitrogen? We have 2 nitrogen atoms. We have how many oxygen? We have 6 oxygen atoms. Why? Because 2 times 3 equal how many? Equal 6. Equal how many? Equal 6. So we have 2NaNO3. أقول له تمام. أنت قلت معايا الصوديوم will take all and let only oxygen. يبقى هقول له we have 2NaNO2. We have how many sodium? We have 2 sodium. We have how many nitrogen? We have 2 nitrogen. We have how many oxygen? We have 4. 2 times 2 equal 4. So the rest أو الباقي as O2 gas evolve. Here we have sodium nitrate, its color is white, and here we have sodium nitrite, and its color is yellowish white. أبيض مصفر. Okay. So dear students, we have 5 equations represent the thermal decomposition reactions أو breaking down by heat. يعني واحد يقول لي what is meant by thermal decomposition reaction as we studied before. Thermal decomposition, thermal which means heat. عشان كده بنقوله thermometer. thermometer اللي هو بيقيس ايه؟ thermometer. thermometer يعني measure temperature. فأنا عارف إن كلمة thermal معناها heat. thermal decomposition reaction. decomposition which means breaking down تكسير. يبقى لما يقول لي what is meant by thermal decomposition reaction which means breaking down of compound into simpler substance. بكسر الكومباوند لحاجة أبسط منه. We have how many? We have 5 equations. Mercuric oxide will decompose into mercury and oxygen. We have copper hydroxide will change into copper oxide and water vapor. We have copper sulfate change into copper oxide, sulfur trioxide. And we have copper carbonate change into copper oxide. خلي بالنا قلنا copper oxide more than one time. And carbon dioxide. The last one is sodium nitrate decomposed by heating into sodium nitrite and oxygen gas. طيب. So we have some videos. هنشوف بعض الفيديوز to know how the chemical reaction, especially the thermal decomposition reaction, takes place, and change of colors between the reactants and the products after and before the chemical reaction. As we have here, we have the first video about thermal decomposition as we see here الفيديو قدامنا اللي هو thermal decomposition of mercury. هنا هو زي ما احنا شايفين as red color is called mercuric oxide HGO. Okay, by heating بسخنه as you see here. By heating will it change into what? It change into mercury and oxygen. Oxygen bubbles. We can collect oxygen, okay, and we can prove the presence of oxygen. We know عايزين نعرف ان التيوب دي كنت جواها اكسجين. لا بصوا we just approach هنقرب glowing splint. glowing splint بصوا النار هتزيد ازاي. The fire will increase because we studied before. Because we studied before, dear students, as we see here, oxygen helps in burning but doesn't burn. شوفوا لما ادخلها جوه the fire اهو will increase. النار زادت. Why? Because as we see here, dear students, the oxygen gas helps in burning but doesn't burn as we studied before in طبعا زي ما خدنا قبل كده في 6th primary. We know how can the red mercuric oxide decompose by heating into mercury and oxygen. Okay, we can copper carbonate as we have here to use copper carbonate, and we know copper carbonate its color is green as you see here on the monitor. زي ما احنا شايفين copper carbonate CO3 its color is green. By heating it will change into what? Into copper oxide. Copper oxide its color is black. تمام. copper carbonate CuCO3 green change into copper oxide and what? And carbon dioxide. We remember lime water becomes turbid as we studied before in 6th primary زي ما خدنا في 6th ابتدائية برضو. And the lime water becomes turbid or milky by the effect of carbon dioxide. يبقى we have carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide make our change litmus lime water into from clear تبقى لونها زي المية العادية change into turbid or milky color as we have here. So we have number 1 copper carbonate decompose into copper oxide and what? Yes, and the carbon dioxide as you see in the equation. Okay, So, dear students, we have the second equation. We have two other equations. We have equation of copper hydroxide. We have the equation of thermal decomposition of copper sulfate. How can ممكن نتكلم على الكوبر أو صوديوم نيتريت. طب نبتدي بالكوبر sulfate. Okay. Copper sulfate, and we know copper sulfate, its color is what? As you see here, copper sulfate, its color is blue, like copper hydroxide. We know copper hydroxide and copper sulfate are what? Are blue. By heating here, they will change from blue color into what color? Into black, due to the formation of copper oxide. عشان هي هتتغير وهتتحول هتبقى copper what? Oxide. And the rest is sulfur trioxide. طبعا السلفر trioxide just ان هو evolve sulfur trioxide change into sulfuric acid. طبعا دي مش عليكم في المنهج، بس يعني ايه عشان some students may ask why we approach، ليه بنقرب هنا litmus paper يعني عشان to know يعني. Okay, so here we know the change of copper sulfate blue color into copper oxide black color, and the rest is sulfur trioxide. Sulfur trioxide SO3. Okay, and we have for example here we have decomposition of sodium nitrate, and we know sodium nitrate as you see here its color is white زي ما احنا شايفين على لو نبص هنا على المونيتور. الصوديوم نيتريت لونه white color 2NaNO3. By heating change into yellowish white. Its color change into yellowish white due to the presence of sodium nitrite. أنا بعلي صوتي. Sodium nitrite yellowish white أبيض مصفر. And what evolve oxygen. And what evolve oxygen. And we know oxygen helps in what? In burning. So we can indicate the presence of oxygen by approaching the glowing splint. لما قرب glowing splint بصوا the fire will increase. Why? Because oxygen helps in burning but doesn't burn. So now dear students we know what is meant by thermal decomposition reaction. بقول له thermal معناها which means heat. So we have to decompose any chemical compound by heating into simpler substance لحاجة أبسط منها. And we have 5 examples: mercuric oxide, copper carbonate, copper sulfate, copper hydroxide, and sodium nitrate as these examples of thermal decomposition reaction. We have another type of chemical reaction, but this chemical reaction is called simple substitution reaction. Substitution, we know substitution, which means substance replace another substance. يعني حاجة بتحل محل حاجة. Substitution يعني حاجة احتياطي هيحل محل زميله. يبقى substance replaces will replace another substance. طيب how come يعني why this substance will replace another substance? As we studied before in second prep خدنا في تانية إعدادي حاجة اسمها chemical activity series, arranging of metals in descending order according to their chemical activity. According to this chemical activity series, from more active to less active metals, we can recognize how can we deal with any equations related to this chemical reaction. طيب, so here we have, dear students, as we see, we have chemical activity series. Chemical activity series نبص مع بعض كده ونشوفها. هنا what is meant by chemical activity series? As we studied before, the arranging ترتيب of metals in descending order according to their chemical activity. يبقى أنا عملت arranging of metals. Arranging of metals. In what order? In descending order. according to what? according to their chemical activity، على حسب نشاطهم الكيميائي. Okay, so we know now arranging of metals in descending order according to their chemical activity. According to these chemical activity or this chemical activity series, the elements which is more active substitutes the less active. يعني الأقوى هيحل محل الأضعف. Because we know or we ask about chemical activity series, and we should remember all elements in this chemical activity series. Okay, dear students, let's go to a little break, then we will return back again. Welcome back again, dear students. We have to talk about the substitution reaction, but here we should know now what is meant by chemical activity series, as we have to know the arranging of metals in descending order according to their chemical activity. يعني أنا برتب metals in descending order، يعني from the most active to the less active metal according to their chemical activity. So here we have chemical activity series, and we know what is meant by chemical activity series as the same definition as we studied before in second prep، زي ما خدناها في تاني إعدادي بالظبط. And we will use it in some chemical reactions or equations to know how can this element replaces another element or below element in the chemical activity series. يبقى we should remember the chemical activity series زي ما انتم شايفينها قدامكم كده اهي. Chemical activity series arranging of metals in descending order according to their chemical activity. We start with what element? As we see here, we have potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin. tin اللي هو ال اس ان دي اللي هو معناها tin اللي هو زي الصفيح كده بالعربي. lead اللي هو بي بي اللي هو الرصاص. هيدروجين، كوبر، سيلفر، جولد، بلاتينم. طيب يعني some students may ask me، يعني ممكن واحد يقول لي انت قلت arranging of metals صح؟ هو الهيدروجين ميتال؟ Only one non-metal in the chemical activity series is hydrogen. All are metals. Potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin, lead, hydrogen, copper, silver, gold, platinum. تمام؟ طيب هنا simple substitution reaction. واحد يقول لي طيب انت بتتفق معايا ان more active element replaces the less active one. يعني what is meant by simple substitution? Because we have another type of reaction as double substitution reaction. Okay, we have a phone caller here.
الو، مساء الخير.
مساء النور.
ازي حضرتك يا مستر؟
الحمد لله تمام.
انا والدة كارما. انا باستمرار كنت بتكلم في الترم الاولاني طبعا، لان في نفس التوقيت ده كان بيبقى بنوتي ثالثه اعدادي، كان بيبقى عندها تدريب في النادي بتاعها.
تمام تمام.
فيعني انا بس حابه النهارده ان انا اطلع، ما عنديش اي سؤال، بس حابه ان انا اقول يا رب بالتوفيق ان شاء الله، وترم يبقى كويس
ان شاء الله.
وبشكركم على المجهود الرائع اللي بتبذلوه مع اولادنا بصراحه.
شكرا.
انا بنتي بفضل ربنا وبفضلكم الترم الاولاني كانت متفوقه جدا في الماده بصراحه.
الحمد لله الحمد لله.
بالتوفيق ان شاء الله، ويا رب ان شاء الله يبقى ترم احسن من الاولاني كمان بامر الله.
بامر الله ان شاء الله، وتبقى في السبورت وفي الاديوكيشن في الرياضه وفي التعليم تبقى زي بعض ان شاء الله، واحسن ان شاء الله.
يا رب ان شاء الله، وربنا يجازيكم خير على المجهود الرائع اللي بتبذلوه مع اولادنا.
شكرا شكرا جدا
حضرتك يا فندم.
شكرا جدا لحضرتك.
شكرا. مع السلامه.
مع السلامه. طبعا هنا زي ما احنا شايفين مع بعض بنتكلم ان اتمنى ان احنا كل الستودنتس يستفيدوا من الشرح بتاعنا، ولو في اي مشكله عند حد يكلمنا، لو في اي جزء محتاج انه يتشرح او في اي كويستشنز. طبعا في بيج على الفيسبوك اللي هي مدرسه على الهواء ابتدائي واعدادي. طبعا بشكر جدا ياسر عباس، الاستاذ ياسر عباس، طبعا هو اللي يعني عملها، وكلنا كتيتشرز موجودين عليها، واي ستودنتس برضو يحب يخش على البيج بتاعت مدرسه على الهواء ابتدائي واعدادي يخش عليها معانا برضو ويسال عليها ويشوف اي حاجه ناقصاه او اي حاجه عايزه تتعاد تاني. نكمل مع بعض هنا في السمبل سبستيتيوشن رياكشن. قلنا ان المور اكتيف element will replace يعني هيحل محل the less active element. يعني فور اكزامبل هنا A plus BC، واحد يقول لي هو في element اسمه A و element BC لا 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 لا. فور اكزامبل يعني like mathematics X Y Z A B C D like algebra like geometry يعني زي ما بنعملها كده. Okay, here we have A plus BC. A will replace B. Kick out. طلعه بره. So we have AC plus B. So here we have more active element. More active element will replace the less active element. Will replace the less active element. أهو this less active element go out and more active element will combine or takes place of the less active element. We have many examples like this example. واحد maybe some students ask me, we have this equation for the third time in first prep, in second prep, in third prep. خدنا الايكويشن اول واحده دي خدناها في اولى اعدادي، في ثانيه اعدادي، وناخدها في ثالثه اعدادي. صوديوم in water، نحط الصوديوم في الميه. And we know how can we play sometimes in the lab of your school with sodium piece, small pieces of sodium in water. بنلعب بيها ساعات لان هي make pop sound، بتعمل صوت فرقعه كده بسيط. طبعا صوديوم small piece and under the supervision of your teacher، باشراف المدرسين بتوعكم طبعا مش لوحدنا. يبقى هنا عندنا هو الصوديوم will replace hydrogen forming sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas will evolve. And we know hydrogen gas burn with pop sound. We have sodium plus water here forming sodium hydroxide plus hydrogen, and we know hydrogen burn with pop sound plus heat طبعا اللي هي حرارة يعني أو تسخين، عشان كده بيحصل صوت pop sound أو صوت فرقعة. عرفنا منين إن الصوديوم will replace hydrogen؟ أقول له إيه؟ من دي أهو الصوديوم فين؟ الهيدروجين فين؟ يبقى الصوديوم كان replace hydrogen yes or no؟ اقول له طبعا yes صوديوم كان replace hydrogen in its compound، يقدر يحل محله في الكومباوند بتاعه ويطلعه هو بره. طيب زنك بلس طبعا ZN زنك بلس HCl هيدروكلوريك اسيد. اقول له طيب هنعرفها منين؟ هقول له طب ما الزنك replace الهيدروجين، هاو كم؟ برضه هرجع تاني واقول له المفروض we remember chemical activities نبقى فاكرينها كويس. يعني الزنك اهو will replace مين؟ hydrogen more active. So we have what here? We have ZnCl2 sodium chloride plus hydrogen gas. واحد يقول لي هو هنا احنا عملنا ZnCl2، احنا ليه حطينا Cl2 تحت كده؟ لان انا عندي 2 هيدروجين و 2 كلوراين. we know the chemical equation should be balanced. اي equation لازم تبقى فيه balance، لازم تبقى موزونة. the number of atoms in the reactants should be equal the number of atoms in the products. As here we have aluminium plus HCl. طبعا to يعني make the chemical equation balanced or more balanced لازم نظبط النمبرز دي. طبعا aluminium will replace الهيدروجين. aluminium more active than hydrogen. يبقى here we have aluminium plus hydrochloric acid يديني aluminium chloride plus طبعا hydrogen. Please dear students مش هنقعد بلاش كلمه حفظ. واحد some students يشوفوا الكلام ده يقول لك انا هحفظها كده وخلاص. لا. واي لو انا عندي مثلا اهو الومنيوم 2Al بلس 6HCl. اوكي تمام. and we know aluminium more active than مين؟ than hydrogen. اوكي اقول له تمام. so here we have how many aluminium? we have 2Al Cl صح؟ مش هو دخل replace الهيدروجين؟ اقول له اه. طب we have how many chlorine؟ we have 6 chlorine صح؟ طيب يبقى هنا بنحط how many؟ 3. 2 times 3 equal how many؟ equal 6 plus we have how many hydrogen here؟ we have 6 hydrogen and the symbol of hydrogen is H2 صح؟ اقول له اه بس انا عندي منهم how many؟ 3 يبقى لازم احط 3 كده لان 3 times 2 equal how many؟ equal 6. يبقى equations ما بتبقاش ايه محفوظة. we remember we understand the equation not just remember the symbols and write like that وخلاص ونكتبها زي ما هي كده وخلاص. لا we can understand the chemical equation. زي الايكويشن قدامنا دي مثلا واحد يقول لي copper plus hydrochloric acid. ده copper Cu وهنا hydrochloric acid. لو رجعت كده to the chemical activity series we know here نرجع كده تاني معلش اهي as you see here كده we have copper. فين الكبر؟ كبر اهو صح؟ والهيدروجين فين؟ اهو فوقيه. يبقى copper can replace hydrogen؟ yes or no؟ اقول له no copper can't replace hydrogen. يبقى هنا هقول له copper can't replace hydrogen. يبقى ده hydrochloric acid طبعا chloric acid. so we have no reaction. Okay. As this equation magnesium plus CuSO4 we have copper here we have blue طبعا copper sulfate واحنا فاكرين blue copper sulfate. Okay. And here we have magnesium. Magnesium can replace what? Copper. Yes. So here we have MgSO4 magnesium sulfate and copper. And what? Copper has red precipitate اللي هو PPT يعني راسب لونه أحمر. So dear students, if we remember chemical activity series and we نفتكرها تمام start from potassium and end with platinum اللي هو البلاتين from most active element to the less active element. We can understand how can we answer every equation. Some as we studied before, some equations according to the this video as we have hydrochloric acid with zinc and we know zinc more active than hydrogen as you see here زي ما احنا شايفين اهو قدامنا hydrochloric acid plus zinc replace hydrogen. Zinc will replace what? Hydrogen. So we have bubbles of hydrogen لان الزنك دخل مكان مين؟ الهيدروجين in its compound. At the same time لو بصينا هنا مع بعض كده اهوت we have other equation مثلا for example copper with hydrochloric acid. We know copper doesn't react with hydrochloric acid because copper less active أو hydrochloric acid no reaction because copper هيفضل زي ما هو، مفيش اي حاجه هتحصل. اوكي دي ستودنتس، لو نبص كده اخر حاجه هنا ده هنعتبرها اللي قدامنا ده as a homework. لو give reason number 1 formation of black substance by heating a green copper carbonate، ده اول سؤال homework. تاني سؤال homework red mercury oxide change into silver color by heating. انا سايبهم كده قدامكم لمده 5 ثواني مش اكتر عشان we have to finish our episode today. خلاص ده give reason number 1 and give reason number 2. If you can answer these questions or these questions, you can answer according to our page at Facebook مدرسة على الهواء ابتدائي وإعدادي, and I'm waiting for your answers. Okay, dear students, at the end of this episode, I hope you get more benefits from these questions and this lesson. Until we meet again, thank you, see you soon, and goodbye.